This is Seolo Safari Secrets, and next to me here I've got Sorta. Sorta, it's a real privilege to be able to talk to you, and you're a guide who takes people out on this vehicle. Welcome to Seolo Safari Secrets. Our Seolo podcasts share the most amazing stories which occur at the back of the house. These are out-of-sight stories that support the remarkable Seolo guest experience. Our hope is that these stories of intrigue demonstrate the wonder and amazement of the Seolo bush experience. How did you get to be a guide? Because I think there must be so many people in the world who would say, I want to do what you do.
Yes. Okay, so this comes from, I can say it's a long way. At the beginning, it was not my plan to be a guide. It was to study. Because my father used to be a guide a long time in a Kruger park. So his last retirement was in a Rhino Post.
Yes.
So when we home every time, because he left me working at the Rhino Post as a waitress.
Yes.
So he'll always ask me about something, what was happening, what's happened with this kind of elephant, because he used to know all the animals mostly surrounding here. So I'd find that there's a time where he asked me something, some kind of animals, I'm not sure about their names.
Yes.
So I find it hard that if he talks to me about something and I don't reply him, it looks like we don't care about him. So I say, okay, let me take one step ahead. Let me study guiding.
Yes.
That's why I did a distance learning course, just doing it to know the animals' habits and habitats. And then when I do that, and then later it become like this. And then when I study, the company, I find me doing an assignment as I was working as a waitress. During the break time, I was not taking a break. I used to write my assignment.
Yes.
So the one day, one of management find me writing assignment, and they ask me, what are you doing? So I tell them I'm writing assignment about the guiding. So they say, okay, tomorrow morning come to the office. You don't have to do this by your own because this is part of tourism.
Yes.
So of course I go to Nikki, and then they said, okay, we're opening hands for you to help you out. All the guards is gonna help you. So I tell them I was just doing it for my father. They say, no, you cannot study for just, this is for your own life.
Yes.
So want to take you further step ahead, will help you to continue going. So that's where it started. So I studied, it took me almost a year to do my whole course, and I finished. So 2018 I do my qualifications. 2019 I say, okay, let me take a 1 year as a year for practice, because I did a distance learning. So I do practice going out with the guides to know the road and then get used to speak to the guests. And then in 2020, that's where everything was just like,
shut down.
Yeah, shut down, the world turned upside down. So, and then when we come back, the lodge start open. So the management called me again. I was already like, okay, it's fine. I have to start from the scratch. But the office called me and say, if you're happy to go on with your qualifications, if you're still willing, we're happy to help you pick up from where you stop from a COVID. So I say, I'm happy. I really want to go furthermore. So they say, okay, from now on, you have to use your spare time. We'll give you a roster for waitressing for the whole month. Then fit yourself. We check on a board as well for booking sheets. Check how many guests is with a certain guide. If the vehicle is not full, we're giving you permission to go and speak to that guide. Ask to go with him, but don't tell him now. Tell him in advance that, okay, maybe tomorrow afternoon I'll join you for safari. So I keep to do like that. And then Mali tell me that when we do this, we want you to get used to approach people, to ask, because if you work as a guide, you have to deliver information and then asking some information to the people. So want you to get used to talk to the people asking for space in a certain vehicle. So that will give you a time to open up your mind.
Okay. Yeah, because I imagine being a guide, there's two very, very important things, and you've mentioned both of them. One, you've got to know a lot of information.
Yes.
And two, you've got to be able to work with all the people who are sitting behind you.
Yeah.
Do you have sometimes difficult people who are behind you?
I can say sometimes it is, but I've been ready with it. So
Yes.
when I go out with our guides, I was seeing the way it's happening to them. So I know that one day that thing is gonna happen. The pressure is more like when the guests come in and they want to see the big five in a park.
Yeah.
And then we know for sure that Kruger Park is you can't predict, or you go out with no expectation and then things just happen.
Yes.
And then if there's that pressure that you have to find a big five for the guest, and then it's a big world. You don't know where to go, where to start, and it find like a pressure. But we get to manage it because we're working together as a team. So wherever there's something, we call each other, and then I also let everybody know that, okay, we're looking for this kind of animals.
Yes.
If we find it, if we're close to you, and then we'll try to go that side. So it find like as a fun, as a playing around with my guests. Because otherwise, if I take it too serious, and then it's gonna make the whole day sour. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, you can't take it personally what
No,
you see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of course it's a wild animals. It's
Yeah.
not like a domestic animal that we know in this area. We got food or got this water for them. They can feel free wherever they want to go. So that's why we don't like it to take it personal as I work, because
Yes.
otherwise it's gonna make me not happy or lose lots of focusing as time goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you most love about what you do?
So what I love the most in this job is a challenge, or I can say the what is going to happen in the next drive.
Yes.
Because always it's a surprise.
Yes.
And then that gives me energy or power to say, okay, tonight in this game drive we've seen this and this.
Yes.
And then I was not aware that that thing is going to happen. So that gives me more power to wake up every day at 4 o'clock. I wake up 4 o'clock every day, and then maybe I sleep at 11. But because there's always different things happening, different sighting happen. It might happen we drive, we don't see much of a game. That is also one of a day I'll remember that, okay, this is the day where we didn't see much. So it's like when the guests have to remind me which date was it we're talking about. It's difficult for me to tell me it was on the 20th of November.
Yes.
It's easier to tell me that day we saw lots of elephant, and then I'll know which date is that.
Yes.
That day we saw lion and leopard, and then that's easier to know which date is it. Beautiful sunset, like last night we had such a beautiful sunset. It was cloudy, but later as soon we stop, the sun starts to show up and goes down. So that's a one of a day to keep me remember which date is that, and it gives me a challenge. Like now I'm ready to know what's going to happen in the next game drive. Yeah.
And I think that's the wonder of the bush, is you never know what's around the next corner.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, you want people sitting here who are appreciating not only a lion but the sunset, also the small things.
Yes.
And I think that's what you really make come alive to people.
Mm.
Do you have a best ever game drive?
Yeah.
Is there one that comes to mind for you where you say, here was the best ever?
Yeah, I can say I do have that. That was a one of a drive. Like I say, I don't remember the dates, but I remember what happening.
Yeah.
It was in an afternoon drive. Just we leave the camp, we're driving. I can tell you before we get to the tar road, we have seen almost all the big five from the lodge into the tar road. That is almost 6 kilometers from the concession to the main Chokwanta. But from here, we saw a leopard as soon we leave the camp. And then we say, okay, we're taking off at the corner to Plains Camp. We find that's a pride of lions, about 9 lions crossing. And then we say, okay, that is fine. As soon we drive, we find a big head of elephant. And then, okay, it's all right. We get into the water panels. There's a new water panel they're starting to make themselves.
Yes.
Find buffalo busy doing mud wallowing there. And we say, okay, then we just go to the high-level bridge for sunset. At the corner on a tar road, as soon as we get in there, there's a rhino crossing. So that was one of amazing. So I come back, I tell Mali that our concession is very fruitful.
Yes.
You can imagine that we see big 5 just from here to the tar road.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of my game drive. I still remember it even now.
And it just shows that, like you mentioned earlier on, you never know what you're going to get. You know?
Yes.
And on this particular day, 6-7 kilometers, everything.
Yes.
And the next day, probably nothing in
Yes.
that 6-7 kilometer
Yeah.
shift. And I think that's what makes it just so exciting being out here. For those watching, you probably can't see what we're seeing, but we actually parked in a riverbed here.
Oh yeah.
And it's absolutely stunning. And I just wanted to say what I most got from our conversation was whenever we work hard, things often happen. Hey, and there you were working to become a guide, and somebody saw you working hard, and then somebody began to create the opportunities for more to happen. And I think that's so often the secret to so much of life, is willingness to go the extra mile, to work hard, and to make things happen. And just well done to you for what you're doing. Last question. So it's just this beautiful story. How do you see the future? Got some aspirations?
Yeah, so I see the future taking me far in this guiding. I can say it's got a whole lot of step going. Like I say, my father was a guide, hiking trails guide.
Yes.
And then I have my brother now who's giving me hard time because he's always like going higher and higher. So when I registered, I was still having a level 4 of guiding. We're doing like a same with a casita together. So I had register for level 2. I do my level 2. So soon I'm done with my level 2, and then he had already level 4. So that was fine. But as soon when he's finished with his, we can say it's a NQF4. So as soon he finished with that, and now we just qualified to for nature conservation degree as a nature conservation. So I was like, okay, so this is getting me to go a little bit higher and higher every time. So I register as well myself for NQF level 4 so that I can continue with that, and then I'll see after this what can if I can go above that, because that is also need lots of timing and then lots of commitment. You don't sleep, going up reading books, and so I'll see where to go after this. But I'm also willing to go as higher as I can in future.
And it's a beautiful sort of growth mindset, Sorta, that you've got to just let's see where this goes, but let's keep growing. Thank you so much. It's so inspiring chatting to you, and to just see where you've come from, where you're going, but also just the delight and passion that you have for the bush. And I find that most inspiring. Thank you, Sorta.
Thank you so much. Yes.